I was, we found out I was super pissed. But then the first thing I did after being super pissed was I read through my contract again. I actually plopped it into Grok and said, Grok, who's responsible for this? It said the builder is.
There's a lot that goes into one of these things. There's a lot. Me and Brett both have some lessons learned that we, over the process of building this, it's been, so we really broke ground, I guess, in March of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And now, initially, it was supposed to be a 1 year build. That's what the Gantt chart told us. But as you can see, it's July, so it's not 1 year. We're actually a year and 4 months now in. And so lessons learned is there's a lot that goes into one of these things. There's a lot. And when you're running through one, and Brett was kind of doing it he's flying on his own. He wasn't flying blind. He knows what he's doing, but there's so many things that he's learning that he's going to send on to you, that we're going to send on to you, that is going to help so that you can actually get down to that 1 year build number that we're looking for. Because the quicker you get people in, the quicker you're making money. Those interest payments aren't killing you. You get started on your S20s and getting going on things like that. That's what we're trying to get to. Trying to get you to where your build is streamlined and we can move down the road with the other things that go along with running it. So some of the lessons learned, I mentioned this at our last MBB. It was a security. Make sure your general contractor is security conscious. Make sure he has cameras on site. Make sure he's locking things up. Make sure that things are secure. Because we had like a $15,000-$16,000 theft occur on our project 2 months ago. And it really backed us up. So Brett can mention some of that.
So yeah, we had what we think was the painters. Because everything got stolen, and then it happened again where we secured everything. Chris left for the day, locked everything up, and then all of a sudden the back door was unlocked again, and then the painters were there, right? So it was like, hey, are you leaving these doors unlocked? And then I went through and almost all the windows were left unlocked, and after I had gone through and locked all the windows. So security super important. We've only had things stolen the one time. But it was a big one time.
Yeah.
So they took a lot of construction material, probably about 10 grand worth of construction material.
About 10 grand worth of construction material. They took, and what was crazy is they took things that they could never sell. They took the cassette fan coils out of the ceiling.
They were still in boxes, but they took
They
those.
were in boxes, but yeah, they took them. They took mantles. They took fireplaces. They took an oven door.
Just the door of
the
oven.
They took just the door of an oven. So yeah, it was random, and that loss was big. But Brett and Laura also had items in the building, and what was crazy about those items is because they weren't construction related, I wasn't cued into them like Brett and Laura were. So we didn't even know those were missing until we started putting the rooms together. And we're like, oh, hey, where's this ottoman? Where's this couch? Where's this chair? So that backed us up even further because we didn't even know everything that was missing. So again, security, that's a lesson we learned on this project. And I would recommend it to all of you to ensure that your builder is security minded, security conscious, because a $15,000 mistake hurts everybody.
So on that note, we found out I was super pissed. But then the first thing I did after being super pissed was I read through my contract again. I actually plopped it into Grok and said, Grok, who's responsible for this? It said the builder is. He's in charge of security. I'm like, whew, all right, good.
Yeah.
And then so, that was on the builder, all the construction stuff. But it was not until a couple weeks later we start putting all the furniture. It was like 9 or 10 grand worth of furniture that was stolen. And that was on me and Laura. And it was like, it was a continual gut punch because it's like I didn't have like a list of everything that was there. We'll go to look for something and it's not there. And it's like we check our cart. Yeah, we paid for it. It's like there's this $3,000 couch or something. It's like shit, it's gone, right? So it was like continuously like every week. It's like oh crap, that's gone too. They actually stole my ladder. I'm still pissed.
Yes.
My personal ladder from my own garage. I had it there. It's stolen, and now I don't have a ladder at my house. So safety and security are super important.
Some other things to move on from that subject, because that one hurts. That one stings.
Stung a little bit.
So it stung me. I didn't have the money invested, but I feel so responsible for it. So that one stings. Let's make sure we keep up with that. I want to go into engineering over design real quick. So your engineers are going to CYA, buddy. They are going to cover themselves 1,000%. And what you'll find, and I know some of y'all have heard me say this before, is that your subs in the field, they're really smart guys. The good ones are, and the good ones are also going to make recommendations that are going to save the owner money. So if you can find, we're going to search for those engineering over designs together. You send me your plans, you send me your sheets. I'm going to compare it to ours. I'm going to compare it to other builds, and we will find a lot of those together. But the sub that is from your area, that does that job, that knows it better than anyone, he will be able to help you the most with that. I might be able to pop it into your radar, but that person is going to be able to figure out the logistics for making it happen. So,
regarding over design for engineering, when I was first getting into this, I'm looking at, my architect, 3 different architects, their bid. MEP, look at those numbers. Civil engineer, look at those numbers. And so I'm comparing which person do I use? Do I use this engineer? Do I use this engineer, right? And it's usually the cost of like $5,000 to $10,000. Do I use option A, B, or C, plus or minus $5,000, $10,000? And I learned that wasn't really the case. It was actually plus or minus $200,000 or $300,000, because it was, what are they going to design? Whatever they put on this paper is what I have to build. It was submitted to the city, went through permits. That's what I have to do. And so the lesson for me was less about, hey, are you $5,000 higher or lower? Is what is it your plan? What is this kind of going to cost? And I think next time I'm going to dig into it a little bit further, right? Especially on the civil engineering stuff, the structural, like, man, if you have bad soil, taking soil off the property, bringing in new soil, I was quoted like $400,000 for this one component. And then I went back to my structural engineer. I'm like, this is what you wrote. Do I have to do this? This sounds crazy. And he's like, oh no, we'll change it. And that guy was reasonable and was able to work with that kind of stuff. But if he was not, man, I just would have fired him and got somebody else. I'm like, I'm not paying an extra $400,000 for this kind of stuff. So dig into all of these kind of different people. How much are they over designing your building? And, and then it might be just a question of like, on the fly, can you go and just talk to the electrician and be like, hey man, can we make this a little bit more reasonable? We went from bigger 800 amp panels down to 600 amp when he looked at it and said, there's no reason you need all of this juice. So I think that's the big lesson for you there. Not the $5,000 or $10,000 on the front. It's the $200,000 during the middle of the project.
Yeah. To go off what Brett said there, when he goes to civil, I know one of the sore points for him was the detention ponds. We could have went with a much simpler, it would have been just as effective, maybe more effective, and a cheaper system. But the civil engineer he hired, that she designed these bioretention ponds. And in the end, they're going to be beautiful. They're going to have flowers and stuff. But if $300,000 or $200,000 makes or breaks your build, then maybe it's a way you might want to look. Hey, maybe this is not my best. And again, she might have got $5,000, but in the end, it was $150,000 to Brett. So,
yeah, that was definitely one of the things I would have done differently. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but we have our slope is kind of like an M. Right in the middle, it all pools, and there's a big pond there, and then it pools to the far side, the back and the right, and there's ponds there. I could have just not had the middle pond and just gone to the front and the back with a detention pond. She designed a bioretention pond, which has all these layers and filaments and plants, and it's super pretty. And when she was pitching me on this, she's like, yeah, it's roughly the same cost. Like, we'll just do it this way. It'll be so much prettier. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds great. No, she had no idea what the numbers were. It was like $200,000 more. And if you're raising money and it's all of a sudden like, now you have add this line item on your site plan of like an extra $200,000, man, those are things you don't want there. Those are kind of the difference between I got to go raise a bunch more money and now I'm losing potential equity because of these kind of things. So super important to dig into a lot of the stuff on the site as you are going through this kind of stuff. It really has substantial impact on your deal structure.